Good morning, everybody. I am here in Limassol, Cyprus. It's around 9:30 here in the morning, this Monday, and I'm coming to you from the medieval castle right here. This is where Richard the Lionheart actually married Berengaria de Navarre and made her Queen of England in, gosh, 1190, 91, I believe. But my history may be a little off. Anyway, this is the medieval castle. This is where Richard the Lionheart got married. This is where he crowned his Queen of England. And I thought we would start here this Monday morning to talk about the news, and we'll walk over just like a couple of minutes to the Limassol Marina, the new Limassol Marina, which is a nice area, and that is where I will wrap up the video. I will grab my coffee, edit the video, and I will get this up for everybody. So let's talk about the news as we walk around the castle, the medieval castle, and let's go over some of the big news topics. I'm trying to think, what are we going to talk about? We will do a clown world. Absolutely. We'll do a short clown world. We will talk about, I think I want to discuss just a little bit about Azovstal, an update there, the evacuation there. We can talk about a significant day, a tragic day in Odessa, this May 2nd, and we'll kind of touch upon that. Ghost of Kiev, the Phoenix Ghost drones, and we'll talk about gas, some of the gas news, Gazprom news, and Europe's big stance against gas for rubles and how it's going to backfire on the EU. So let's get started. Let's make our way to the marina. Let me just show you the front of the castle real quick. Let me make my way here to the front entrance. Let's walk in just for a bit. And what should we start with? Let's start with Azovstal. Let's do an update with regards to Azovstal. So yesterday I talked about how the evacuation had begun. And yesterday afternoon we had the news that around 50 people, civilians, were evacuated from Azovstal. Actually, what I did not know, what I did not report, and that everyone in the comments pointed out as the news came in, was that the 40, I think it was like 46 to be exact, the first 46 people that were evacuated into the buses, and there were around 30 buses, so 30 buses at about 40 people each bus. You're looking at an evacuation of around 1,000 plus people if you go by the buses that were waiting outside of the steel factory in Mariupol. But the first 46 people that were evacuated were actually civilians that were not in the bowels of the steel factory. They were actually in adjacent buildings in the steel factory. So I think that's interesting and worth pointing out. They weren't really part of this hidden layer deep down in the catacombs of the steel factory. They were being, from what I understand, they were being held hostage, but not at gunpoint. In a way, they were being held hostage by fear, in that the Azov guys were telling them, if you leave, then snipers are going to get you, or if you leave, then the Russians are going to do terrible things to you, or you'll get caught in the crossfire. So they were kind of being held hostage by fear. At least this is the reports that I'm getting. There was one family, about 2-3 people, a family that did escape from deep inside the Azovstal factory, from where all the Azov guys, all the military guys were hiding, and perhaps NATO mercenaries, Foreign Legion, God knows what else is down there, generals, NATO generals. Anyway, this family did manage to get out. and they spoke to Russian media. And Russian media said that, well, what they told Russian media was that there was this Azov commander, at least that's what they, that's how they labeled him, an Azov commander who was, let me cross over to the marina here, who was in contact with Zelensky himself. And Zelensky was, the Zelensky government, and Zelensky was giving the orders to this commander. So someone very, very significant, very important, very high up in the ranks was actually on the line communicating with Zelensky, according to this civilian couple. And that is according to Russian media. So those are the reports with that. With Azovstal, that's the update there. Let me cross over here as we enter the marina area. And let me just show you guys real quick where I am. And so, what was I saying? Yeah, so that's the update on Azovstal. I hear that the evacuations are going to be taking place throughout the next few days. And, well, we'll see what comes out of there. Are we going to see NATO fighters, NATO soldiers? Are we going to see foreign mercenaries? Are we going to see a lot of French fighters? Are we going to see generals? Are we going to see one very important general from the United States? I don't know. I don't know. But we'll find out. Or at least I hope we find out what was down there. So moving from Azovstal, today is May 2nd, and it marks the day when in 2014, May 2nd, 2014, you had the fires in the Odessa, the House of the Trade Unions, the trade union fires that took place in Odessa. And that was a terrible event. 46 people were burned alive. They were killed in Odessa, and I won't get into the specifics of it. If you want to learn exactly what happened, I will put a link down below to a documentary called Burnt in Odessa is the name of the documentary. I'll put a link for that down below, and there you can get into the history of the events that took place. It's an excellent documentary. It's got first-hand accounts as to what happened, people who were actually trapped in the trade union's house and were fighting off NAZIs, football hooligans who were NAZIs, and later, I imagine, were absorbed into the Azov battalion. A lot of NAZI Ukraine officials were in Odessa organizing things and putting things together. They were the likes of Andrei Paruby, who was in Odessa kind of putting things together to push up against what was at the time anti-Maidan peaceful protests. So people were actually peacefully protesting the coup d'etat, the Obama EU coup d'etat that took place earlier that year, and they were protesting in Odessa, which is a Russian city. And you had a lot of these NAZI forces, very high up officials, who were part of the Maidan coup. They were conspiring with the likes of John McCain and Cookies Newland, guys like Paruby, who were showing up in Odessa to get the NAZI hooligans to fight against the anti-Maidan protesters. And so these people were showing up in Odessa, and they were organizing things, passing out weapons. By the way, Paruby ended up becoming the head of the parliament a few years later. So this guy, this NAZI, and he's not even a neo, he's like a real traditional NAZI. He actually ended up being the head of the parliament, what would be considered in the United States the Speaker of the House. So yeah, really ugly events that took place around that time. And these people that were organizing these events actually ended up being in the government. So when they tell you there are no NAZIs in Ukraine or in the Ukraine government, it's a complete load of BS. But yeah, these shock troops, these football hooligans, as they're branded by the collective West, because that's how they tried to whitewash what happened in Odessa in 2014. They just tried to say that it was just an argument between rivaling football clans, when in fact it was NAZI hooligans who would later become Azov fighters going up against activists and peaceful protesters who were against the Maidan coup in Odessa. And basically what they did, long story short, is they pushed these activists into a building known as the trade unions, the House of the Trade Unions, and they trapped them inside of there and they burnt them alive. They threw Molotov cocktails in there. They would fire guns at anyone that was leaving. People had to jump out of the building as it was being set on fire. And the worst part about this event, the absolutely worst part about everything that happened on that May 2nd day, was that 46 people died a terrible death. People that managed to escape the building that was set on fire were beaten with bats and were shot at. Much of the Ukraine media, the media in Ukraine, actually cheered this on. Many of the coup government officials cheered this on, and no one was arrested. No one was held to account. And as the people were burning, there was actually police in buses sitting outside of the building, and they were not coming out to help anybody. And the firefighters that eventually did arrive, they arrived way, way too late to do anything. So look, just look at the link below. You'll see the documentary, and it explains everything really well. And I thought I would bring that up today because it's an important event that took place, and no one was held to account. No one was arrested. To this day, there's some sort of investigation that's still taking place, but you can see how the government in Kiev, the regime in Kiev, protected these NAZI elements, and not only protected them, but actually promoted them to become heads of parliament. So I think it tells you everything you need to know as to why we are where we are today. So, saying that, let's talk about some more news topics. 1 second, let me fix the camera real quick. Let's talk about the ghost of Kiev, for which the Ukraine military finally admits did not exist. So, like, over 2 months after the after the special military operation, and 2 months into the conflict, the Ukraine military finally admits that the ghost of Kiev was a complete fiction. A complete fiction. Made up. No such thing. And we should tell that to Adam Kissinger, who was promoting and tweeting about the ghost of Kiev. Adam Kissinger, by the way, is also trying to put together legislation where if there is a chemical or biological attack in Ukraine, then Biden is authorized to send U.S. troops into Ukraine. So Kissinger is trying to put legislation in place where he gives Biden ultimate power to send troops to Ukraine should a chemical or biological weapon attack happen, i.e., any type of false flag would mean that U.S. troops can get sent into Ukraine in order to protect the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Never mind the territorial integrity of the United States or the southern border or anything like that. No need to worry about that. Let's have Adam Kissinger protect the territorial integrity of the swamp and of the Biden family money laundering playground that is known as Ukraine. So yeah, Kissinger was tweeting about the ghost of Kiev, and well, the ghost of Kiev is not around. I wonder if if Nina Jankowicz, who's the new head of the Ministry of Truth, is going to take action against Kissinger for tweeting disinformation. I doubt it. There is, though, the delivery of, what do they call them? These new drones that the US military has created especially for the conflict in order to kill Russian soldiers. They're called Phoenix Ghost drones. And these have been developed by the US, by the MIC, the military industrial complex, for the US military to send, especially for Kiev, for the Kiev regime, so that these drones, which are dubbed kamikaze drones, can effectively kill Russian troops and soldiers in the east. The US is doing everything in their power, absolutely everything in their power, to kill as many Russian soldiers as they can. And they've even created special kamikaze drones for such things. So that's the story there. No Ghost of Kiev, but the US is going to be sending Phoenix Ghost drones, as they call them. We've hit the end of the line here. So, yeah, there's no more to walk. All right, yeah, people are living in these homes over there. From what I understand, they're quite expensive. Like homes that go in the millions, from what I gather. But I wonder if they're going to still be in the millions given all the given the economic crisis that's about to hit us. So what else do I want to talk about here? Let's talk about energy and gas and all of these things. The news about the French nuclear plants being shut down, that was interesting, wasn't it? That was really interesting, that France is going to be shutting down around 50% of their nuclear reactors because of maintenance, because they've got big problems, and so they're going to shut them down. Now, we are heading into summer, so energy consumption is much, much less. So it can kind of make sense that they're going to be shutting down the reactors in order to do whatever maintenance they need to do. But still, it's kind of a bad time to be shutting down parts of your energy industry, isn't it? Really bad time. It just goes to show that every country in the world should have a very diverse energy industry and energy portfolio. You can't rely on just one thing, whether it's reactors, natural gas, oil, coal, green. You have to have a diverse mix, because you never know. Now, this is not going to help the price of energy at all, France being a major player in the EU, but nonetheless, they have to do what they have to do, and if it means they have to knock out 50% of their reactors in order to fix them up, so be it. But I'm sure that Putin in the Kremlin is kind of smirking and smiling at this latest development, because you do have the countries that are still digging in: Bulgaria, Poland, Finland, Czech Republic, Denmark, that are digging in and saying no gas for rubles. And the interesting part about this is that these countries that are boasting that they're standing up to Putin's gas blackmail scheme, I don't think they understand that in the end of the day, sooner or later, it's going to be Russia that ditches the EU and not the other way around. So let me pull up a post from our locals page, theduran.locals.com, where a community member said this: people are talking about sanctions, about how we will cut all Russian gas and oil, that we are not going to buy any more gas, and so on. That is all pumped up by Ursula and the rest of the EU clowns who do not even know how to calculate basic things, not to expect to induce price increase by increase in energy prices by 300 to 400%. Then maybe this is what the EU clowns in Brussels will understand better. And this is the important part. China has increased import by 60% from Gazprom. Soon, when third-party pipelines will be finished, when a third pipeline will be finished, Gazprom will not have any more gas for us in the EU. Gazprom produces 530 BCMs per year. 340 BCM is used by Russians on the domestic market. The EU takes between 130 BCMs and 180, depending on seasonal elements. Soon China will take it all. Do you not understand basic math is the question that this community member finished off the statement with, and they are exactly right. Once that third pipeline comes into operation, going to China, that third pipeline is going to come in and it's going to be lights out for Europe. In other words, what is Russia going to do? They're going to let the contracts run their course with the EU, whatever contracts are left. They're going to wind those down. They're not going to renew them. And they're going to send all the gas via 3 pipelines to China. And China's going to take it all. And they're going to be very happy taking it all. They're not going to complain about it. And that is exactly what is going to happen. And it is going to be Russia that in the near future will tell the EU, we don't want to do business with you. Not the other way around. This is a misconception that a lot of Brussels kleptocrats are running with, that they're going to be the ones dictating the terms to Russia, and they're going to be the ones who decide to not go for the gas for rubles, to drop the gas for rubles. It's going to be the other way around. It's going to be the Russians saying, we don't care if you go with gas for rubles or don't go gas for rubles. We don't have any more gas to send your way because it's all being pipelined to China now. So, adios. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, so let's do a clown world. Let's do a clown world from here on at the marina here. We'll do a scenic clown world. This will be a short one. And we have the EU official. He's a Dutch official, I think he's like the vice chair, the vice president of the commission, or some stupid title like that. Another one of these dumb kleptocrat EU titles. And let me get to the shade here, because once the sun hits, I can't quite read what the screen is saying. So, the EU Commission, he's the VP, the Dutch vice president of the European Union. His name is Frans Timmermans. He's the president of the executive body of the EU, whatever the hell that even means. And he was at a meeting with the European Parliament's Environment Committee. Wonderful. The EU has an Environment Committee, of course. And he said this. He says that Europeans must, and I quote, heat less, ride a bike, and ventilate your clothes instead of washing. Ventilate your clothes instead of washing, in order to support punitive measures against Russia that have exacerbated a cost of living crisis for hundreds of millions of people in the West. Ventilate your clothes. I guess he means don't wash your clothes and just kind of hang them up outside. And that's going to, that'll get rid of any foul odors. Is that what Mr. Timmermans is saying? My God. He said, of course, they can also choose not to do anything, but they can also choose to heat less, go by bike, not by car, take a shower for a shorter time, or to ventilate their clothes instead of washing them out, the Dutch politician said. Meanwhile, Diederik Samson, chief of staff for Frans Timmermans, asserted energy will be much more expensive. As of now, energy was way too cheap for the last 40 years. You got that? Suck it up, EU citizens. Energy was too cheap for 40 years. You had it too good for the last 40 years. Now you're going to have to pay more. That's what Timmermans' chief executive is saying. Timmermans was the guy, I remember this guy. He was the guy that when the conflict first broke out, when the special operation broke, and the EU started placing their shock and awe sanctions, he went up on the podium in Brussels and he said that he told the EU citizens, do not worry, we're going to be independent of Russian energy, completely independent of Russian energy in about a year, he said. It's going to be no problem. I remember his statement. He was like, relax, everybody, calm down, nothing to worry about. In 1 year, we're going to be completely free of Russian energy. How's that working out for you, Mr. Timmermans? So he's shifted from being completely free of Russian energy to now telling Europeans to ventilate their clothes instead of washing them, to ride a bike, to heat their house less, to not take showers. Own nothing and you're going to be happy. You will own nothing and you will be happy. You're going to ride a bike, not a car. You don't need to drive around. You don't need to use any gas, any petrol. You've had it too good for the last 40 years, according to his chief of staff. European citizens have had it too good with their heating and hot showers and their ovens and their stoves and their factories and their industries and their washing machines, their cars. According to the Timmermans office, in his office in Brussels, their thinking is that the EU citizens have been too pampered for the last 40 years, and now it's time to pay a hell of a lot more and just live a much more simple life. Take your clothes to the water right here and, dunk them in and wash them. Yeah, that's Timmermans. These are the guys that are running the European Union. Anyway, he is a true clown. He is without a doubt a true clown. And congratulations, Mr. Timmermans. You made today's Clown World segment. That's the video, guys. Check out Alexander's channel. Check out the Duran's channel. I'm signing off, theduran.locals.com. Till next time, take care.